I want to take a look at a little bit of an internet phenomenon. It's not something that is unique or native to the internet, but as you've noticed from the title of this channel, the interweb and the Interwebercessor, the internet is where we are, and it's one of the most profoundly impactful things on our modern life. I want to talk about the concept of fandoms and what we can learn from them. If you're not familiar with the lingo, a fandom is basically a group of people who gather together around a common interest, usually in pop culture, things like TV shows, movies, comic books, video games, different things that get produced and that create a gathering of people around them. And again, this isn't new. I mean, there have been fan clubs since forever talking about, did you see the show last night has been water cooler talk for ages. But like many other things on the internet, while the internet isn't responsible for it, the internet didn't create it, the internet does what it does with a lot of things that's common to the human nature. It gives it a platform and a megaphone and easy access for anyone to start jumping in and participating. And so we're seeing this idea of fandom, of rallying together around a piece of culture, really taking off in recent years. And there are two things I really want to examine about fandom, and I think they boil down to a singular issue that I think we can make some observations from and learn from, and even examine our own hearts and see to what extent are we giving ourselves to this kind of stuff. The first thing that I find really fascinating is the way that being a part of a fandom can elevate this thing that you love. We all have things that we love. If it's not our hobbies, then it's a TV series, or it's that one movie that just changed our life, or OMG, or it's fashion, or it's politics, or any number of things that we really like, and that's what we gravitate to with our free time. That's where our thought life gravitates to, and it's not necessarily any kind of problem with that. But something that's really interesting about what can happen in a fandom is where people start seeing this common thing that everyone likes and participates in and is excited enough about to talk with other people. Did you see that? Did you notice that? I can't wait for the next one. It turns into this thing where the object of fandom becomes kind of the most important thing about us. For instance, I have this shirt that, let's just say, it's a little bit on the nerdy side. And I was wearing it out around town one day, and there's this young woman who starts squealing and runs up to me. Oh my gosh, I love that show. That's the best show. And she starts really getting excited and wanting to talk to me about this thing that we both super love. And, okay, firstly, I do like the show, but I don't hyperventilate over it. I saw the shirt. I thought the shirt looked cool. It was on sale. I bought it. And that's about the level of my emotional investment in it. But secondly, there was this vibe of oh my gosh, I just made a new best friend. And I've actually seen this around the internet where somebody will post something on Facebook or Twitter. It's I really loved XYZ. And someone else says, I really love XYZ too. Oh my gosh, did we just become best friends? And so I'm standing there, and this, really sweet young woman who is just effusing over this show, and I'm getting that did we just become best friends vibe. I'm you don't know anything about me. Okay, I watch this show, and so do you, but so do literally millions of other people. And not all of them are cool. Not all of them are even good people. Like, I could be the biggest jerk in the world, but I just happen to wear this t-shirt, and now suddenly we have this deep sisterly bond because clearly we both have this undying passion for a TV show. That's one of many, many, many things that you could possibly know about the person, and is that enough to say, I like you, we're going to be friends? It's enough to strike up a conversation. It's enough to say, hey, we have a common interest. But is that really all it takes? The second thing I want to look at in relation to fandom is the amount of emotional investment that can get made in these kinds of franchises and intellectual properties. For all the talk of community and friendship and, it's so great to find these other people who care as much as I do, there's also a lot of weird gatekeeping. Like, you're not a real fan if you don't know this list of obscure facts about one of the secondary characters. Or you're not a real fan if you haven't seen the pilot episode. Or you're not a real fan if you haven't read the books before you see the movies. Which is a little weird in and of itself, because it's like, okay, you go after that thing however you want to, but why does it affect you? How other people think and feel about it? It kind of doesn't. But then you see the people on the other side, I am too a real fan, and there are these gigantic fights about who belongs in the fandom and who doesn't belong in the fandom. There's this drama that arises. For instance, somebody says, a lot of people are really into this thing, but I tried this thing and I don't get what the big deal is. I thought it was kind of weird. And the true fandom person is, how dare you? This is the greatest gift to mankind ever. And it's like a personal insult. Or you see, in another extension of this same kind of attitude, there are people who are part of the creative process for these fandoms, the writers, the actors, the developers. There are people who write about the fandom, like reporters, critics, who get swamped with death threats because they put something in the show that I didn't like, or you acted as this character and I hated this character, or you're ruining the franchise that I've loved since I was a kid. And somehow it seems to the fandom that the appropriate response and a commensurate response is to issue death threats and to publish their personal information and to write huge blogs, whole blogs dedicated to how awful such and such person is and why they deserve everything that's coming to them. And why is the reaction so strong on both sides? Why do you get that instant, we're going to be best friends reaction? And why do you get that instant, you are awful and everything wrong with the world and I hope you die kind of reaction? From what I can tell, it's because it goes back to identity. The thing about fandoms, as opposed to being a fan of something, and I do want to clarify here, if you consider yourself to be part of XYZ fandom, or you go to the websites or whatever, that's not in and of itself the problem. But what can happen with these fandoms is that you get an investment of identity into the thing. Like in that first example, we must be best friends because we both like the same TV show. And it's like, okay, but it's a TV show. And is that really the most important thing about us? In the second case, it's you don't like this thing that I love, or you did something that in my perspective negatively affects this thing that I love, and therefore it feels like a personal attack, and I am justified in lashing out and hitting you where it hurts because you are threatening the most important thing about me. So what can we learn from this? Because it's really not necessarily that the thing you love is problematic, and it's not necessarily an issue that you love the thing or that you're excited about the thing or that you are keeping up with the news about the thing. But when that thing starts getting into your heart as this is what really makes me me. Being in a fandom for a lot of people isn't just about, I'm excited about this and want to keep up with it with other people who are also excited about it. It's about, this is a place I belong. These people understand me. They get the longings of my heart and the excitement and the heartache and just everything that comes with the roller coaster of emotions of following this thing. This is where I fit. But is this really a sound place to be? What makes us us? What matters about who we are? How do our passions and our hobbies, whether we're casually participating or deeply invested, how do those shape our heart? How do those shape our value? How does that affect the way we view other people and the way other people view us? What is a healthy way to start engaging with those questions, and what is a better framework for them than perhaps our favorite video game? How can we begin to figure out who we are and where we fit and why we matter? And not to leave it on a cliffhanger or anything. I'm totally leaving it on a cliffhanger. We're out of time for this week, but I want to discuss more next week. How do we begin to grapple with this question? Where does my identity lie, really? Where can I figure out my sense of belonging? How does it affect me when it's challenged or threatened? And how do I react to the people who I perceive to be challenging and threatening it? So stay tuned. Same time, same channel. Interwebercessor. I'm Amanda Beatty, and I will see you next week. We can talk about this a little bit more.